Hello, 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 and welcome, everyone. This is your host, Beverly Fells Jones, the Silver Fox of Consciousness. I am an author, speaker, seminar leader, Mimi, mother, gardener, quilter, and all kinds of wonderful things that I love to bring into my life and share with you. On this show, I talk about how to expand your world of thought, explore the world of positive thinking, Bible based law of attraction, and consciousness from many points of view. I intend to share with you information that will enlighten and empower you in your life. I'm here to encourage you to think in the positive and show you in many ways that miracles can happen. I truly believe that you and I and everyone on this earth has been given the word in order to create the life that you want. Thought can be changed into form simply by taking your intuition and doing the things that you are inspired to do to make the life that you desire. I absolutely love coming on and speaking with you and sharing with you information that I received. And yes, I talked Napoleon Hill and Neville Goddard and Jose Silva and Charles Hanel and all those wonderful people that left a legacy of writings that we can access and apply to our lives. But I also love reading people's stories about how they've changed their life and the things that they've used to do that. And I do part of that through reading stories to you from the manifestations, true stories of bringing imagined into reality. And today, I just went to the front of the book like I always do, looked at the table of contents, and I, in meditation, chose today's, well, Spirit chose today's reading. And today's reading, and for some reason I feel called to give you the page number, is from page 182 of the Manifestations book. And it's called Finding Joy by Amanda Long. And in here, I don't do this often, but I'm going to read you her author information that's in the back of the book. Amanda Long is an educator who has taught public school and university. She recently completed her master's in educational leadership through the Simon Fraser University in Vancouver, British Columbia. So she's a Canadian. She loves teaching, mentoring, collaborating with others. Her passion is education, and she hopes to engage and inspire people to keep learning and pursue their dreams no matter how difficult they seem. You can find Amanda on Twitter, and in the show notes, I have her Twitter handle and her email address. I wanted you to hear who she is today and what she's done because you will find her story even more amazing. I am really just enamored with what Miss Long has accomplished. So come along with me as I read you the story of Finding Joy. Finding Joy by Amanda Long. It is a story you've heard before, likely as an after school special. A 16-year-old runaway in a sketchy rental suite, skips school often, but works at a local restaurant to get by. She dates the wrong people, makes poor decisions, and is at risk of all types of trouble. You think you know how this story goes, but this is my story, and it might surprise you. So just listen to her very first paragraph. And I'm sure that visually you could bring up many of those after school specials or those that on the news about runaways and some of them on the street. I just watched actually a video out of Ohio where they've saved 45 children that were in a trafficking, that were being trafficked. In fact, it was more than 45 children. And what they said was 1 in 6 of runaways are likely to be trafficked. So be aware of that in your neighborhood. Be aware of that, of the people around you. And if you need teenagers in trouble, find a way to help them. Now, I had to stop and say that because that was I think part of the reason why Spirit got me to this story, because I had just finished watching that video when I went into the book to find what I was going to read today. It works that way. It absolutely does. Okay, let me keep going. All right, so 16-year-old runaway in a rental suite working, making poor decisions. Okay, we got all that from the first paragraph. So let's go on. I was a smart kid who didn't apply myself. Some teachers said I was a negative influence and distraction to others. I was forced to work multiple part-time jobs to get by, which kept me from attending classes regularly. But somehow I managed to graduate. Not only did I graduate, but I was also awarded a small scholarship to a local college. So I took a writing program that interested me. As the only recent high school graduate in a class of older mid-career students upgrading their resume, I certainly didn't fit in. I did well in my classes, but it didn't spark joy. Afterward, I started to take general courses while juggling 2 jobs. Unlike high school, I loved going to classes, learning, socializing, and being in an educational setting. Then I met a boy. I stopped going to college for a couple of years, got pregnant, and the boy left me. Sure, there was more to the story, but essentially that's the plot line. I decided I needed to go back to school to get university transfer credits, and I needed to do it before I had my baby. And I did. Listen to her. I mean, she was, I know many people who have met the boy, stopped going to classes, or stopped doing certain things that they wanted to do and wound up in a situation. But she didn't allow this situation to stop her. In fact, as you hear, or at least as I hear, it gave her even more tenacity, even more reasons to go back to school. She was about to have a baby by herself. And she goes on. It was hard attending classes while extremely pregnant and working. I did well in my classes and even tutored some classmates. But then it was baby time. I missed classes that first week of April while at the hospital. But the next week, my instructor looked at me shocked as I marched into the classroom a week postpartum to write my final exam. She was determined. I mean, all of you ladies out there who have had children, and I've had two, and I had C-section, but those of you who had natural childbirth, I mean, 1 week afterwards, I know there's stories about people who used to drop their babies and, go back out in the field or go back to work and do all that. But your body has been through a traumatic experience, and now it's back on the mend, or back to getting itself back to where it was before you had the baby, and get you ready for the next one, because that's what our women's bodies do. So anyway, she says, I passed all my classes and had enough credits to transfer to a university to pursue my degree. I enjoyed that summer with my baby before I had to return to work and school. Now reliant on student loans, I hadn't worked enough hours as a student to qualify for maternity benefits. So let's look at this. Reliant on student loans, I hadn't worked enough hours as a student to qualify for maternity benefits, so I was broke. I had to go back to work and back to school. It was the only way I'd ever get ahead. This woman was determined, very determined. And one of the things that Napoleon Hill tells us is that we've got to have a burning desire. When we want to set our goal, or we want to be rich, or we want, think and grow rich, or we just want to get to the next level to better ourselves, we have to have a burning desire. And you can see Amanda, working hard, going back postpartum to take the final exam, pass her classes, transferred to a university, living off of student loans, but having to go back to work to take care of her and her child. Imagine what that takes. Imagine the fortitude, the tenacity, the persistence, all of those things that Napoleon Hill talks about. I worked the bare minimum to afford what we needed while a friend watched my daughter. I went to university and got my first degree. It was then that I realized I wanted to be a teacher, and so I applied to continue my university learning and got a second degree in education. I met my first husband at that time. He was kind, treated my daughter well, and we had 10 years together. Though our relationship was not terrible, it felt like a marriage of convenience over time. He watched my daughter while I finished school and pursued my career goals, creating a stable life for us. I was thankful for his support, but fell out of love with him. I didn't leave right away. I had convinced myself that true love was only for the movies, and I was foolish to believe in fairy tales. I didn't want to be another divorce statistic, and my life was fine. And so I stayed. I'd stayed for too long. It sucked the joy out of me. I noticed my entire personality change, and I knew I couldn't continue living like this. I had so many dreams. I had promised my grandfather before he passed that I would get a master's degree, something I had never imagined possible for someone like me. I had come from poverty and struggled so much as a teen, only to overcome those obstacles. I had wanted to travel the world and see different places and cultures, but never had the time or the money. I realized I wasn't living my best life. And my husband had no desire to grow with me and help me reach my goals. Worst, he had no goals. We were both crawling through life in a loveless marriage, and so we divorced. It was a difficult transition. He moved out, and while my daughter was upset at first, I explained honestly that we were not happy anymore. I told her that she was getting to an age where she would be dating, and I wanted to model healthy romantic relationships. Although it was tough in the beginning, the divorce was ultimately the best decision for everyone. I enjoyed my new freedom. I applied for and finished my master's degree and started to go out more with friends. I embraced adventures that came my way with excitement. I went to painting nights at local pubs, sporting events, and escape rooms. My daughter and I went camping with friends and found joy in everyday living. As I began to find happiness in my life, positivity radiated off me. While I was busy enjoying life, and when I least expected it, I found love again. The kind of love that changes your life for the better. We had known each other for a few years through mutual friends, and one day it simply clicked. Suddenly, I discovered that fairy tales are real. We dated, he proposed, and we were married on the beach, a childhood dream of mine. My husband loves me as no one has ever loved me, and I truly believe it is because I learned to love myself so fiercely and live life so passionately that it attracted the right person. I look back at my life, even the challenges, with fond memories. The hardships I overcame built resilience in me. From living alone at 16 to my happily ever after, our blended family moved across the country last summer and lives every day fully doing things that spark joy. Well, I tell you, Amanda, I am so happy that you found your dream and you found joy. I am so happy that Amanda lived her life and she took those adventures and she didn't let things stop her. She didn't allow being pregnant and without the father to help her, to stop her from getting her degree. She persevered. She did the things that would propel her. But the key for me is the fact she had goals. You need goals. I tell people there for a while there, I had no goals because I said I've gotten to a certain age and, what kind of goals do I want to set? And so I have goals, new goals that are appropriate for me and for what I desire. And one of those goals is to get to 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm just going to persevere and get there. And from there, I have other goals. And at home, I have goals for my garden to be better next. I had the best garden this year. Oh, it just flourished. I know that I've had between 40 and 50 pounds worth of peppers, different kind of peppers. I grew celery for the first time and I still have tons and tons of celery I have to harvest and dry or freeze. Tomatoes that I hadn't grown like this before. But next summer's goals are a little bit loftier. So, what are your goals? What is your burning desire? What is it that you want to achieve? And the other thing she mentioned in here, she had goals, but her husband didn't. And so that causes discord within the household. So when you are working with your goals, be around people who have goals for themselves. Whether they're your friends, the people you work with, associate with those who have a dream, that they have a passion that they're working toward. Because that will fire you up and fire up your dreams and your passions and the things that you desire. As she said, the hardship that she overcame built resilience in her. And I see that she had perseverance and burning desires. I hope that you have enjoyed today's reading, and I ask you to give me a thumbs up, a positive review. Please subscribe to the channel and share this information if you know someone who is struggling and thinks that it's not worth it or they can't move forward. Share this with them and share this on your social media channels wherever you are. Thank you for listening today. Please share the link to this show with your friends and family so that they can learn how to be the best that they can be. Visit my website at commandingyourlife.com and follow me on Facebook. Have any suggestions for the show? Just contact me by emailing Beverly at commandingyourlife.com. Be sure to join me on the next episode. As you have believed, let it be done to you, and it is so.